Operation Recover or Loot, it appears to say His Excellency, the President-elect, has kicked it in. We're naming a 5-member committee. Mabubo Omudin Sisia. First of all, how do you react to Salesti?
I think that's a good thing. In this transition period, some persons may be attempting to transfer things, hide things, move things. So putting this out there will make everybody cautious and alert.
You think the timing is? You think the timing is apt?
I think it's apt.
Okay.
Because once election was done, there may be some people who, knowing that government is going to change, new leaders who are going to monitor, audit, review, they want to hide things, transfer things, so setting up this committee to keep the public alert. If you know anything, report it. In anti-corruption terms, you say, see something,
say something.
These days, if you even ask that, do something.
Okay.
You see, you must also act with others to stop it. So I think it's timely because it will put fear in persons who are so inclined to try and do the wrong thing. And also get many more people to try and contribute to retrieving things that may have been stolen by persons who just want to engage in corrupt practices.
There are those who are of the opinion that probably His Excellency should have waited until formally sworn in to give more impetus to this committee. But you think that it is very okay at this time?
I don't think the issue of he should have been sworn in. He calls it preparatory committee. If you ask me, for the future, we should institutionalize this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it should be so that, you see, when you get into government, the idea that it is a free-for-all, after the first 4 years especially, things always decline and people start doing things without being responsive to the concerns of the general public. Knowing that immediately after that, there is a committee that is set up and we will be asking all citizens to provide information on what they know has gone wrong. That should frighten somebody. That should make you rethink whether you want to just take over lands or take over monies that are not yours or try and hide things. I think that every government should come in knowing that we will do this and every citizen will contribute the information to arresting those who have taken advantage and exploited the public purse to their advantage unethically.
I have been engaging a number of people on social media today. I've also been following public reaction to this on different platforms, and it appears that people are divided in terms of their expectations. There are those who are of the view that even constitutionally constitutionally mandated bodies to fight corruption are unable to see an end to it. They've been very much unsuccessful in many attempts, and therefore, for want of a better word, a mere committee may not be able to do very much in terms of our expectations. Are you one of those who are very confident that this committee will do something different?
The quality of the result depends on the quality of the evidence.
Okay.
The novel nature of this approach is the committee is only fact-finding. They don't have a mandate to do investigation and prosecution, which means that whatever information they collect will have to be submitted to existing institutions of state anti-corruption ones that have the mandate under law to complete the investigations and engage in prosecution where necessary. I find this useful because, you see, if the committee is able to encourage sufficient Ghanaians to provide information that validates itself. In other words, rather than one person just sending a letter to church or to the OSP, if they have channels or platforms which allow anonymity and keep the identity of those providing the information hidden, you may get many more people providing information from multiple sources, which will then enhance the credibility of the reports, the credibility of the evidence, and therefore, in a court of law, more likely reach a conclusion that will find people culpable. And that, I think, is an advantage.
I want us to look at the individuals appointed to handle this very task. And I'm looking at their backgrounds, and I'm wondering what informed His Excellency the President-elect to come up with this list. Very, very astute men in their own rights. I'm wondering the confidence level of Ghanaians in these individuals. Dr. Domelovo, who comes on this committee with auditing background, par excellence in terms of his performance in public office. We know his footprints in terms of fighting corruption. COP Kofi Boakye has an impeccable record in fighting crime. You have investigative journalist Raymond Acha. You also have Martin Kpebu, who comes on the committee with some legal background. And then the Honorable Kujeto Blakwa, whose footprints as well we can also trace in terms of his advocacy against corruption. Do you think that these men stand tall in terms of fighting corruption, and therefore they can court the confidence of the Ghanaian people?
Yes, I do. I think that all of them are not novices in the anti-corruption and good governance space. They are all persons who have, walked the talk. It's not that they just talk. Martin, for example, I remember when we had the issue of some companies going into the forest. We went to ask the police. Why hasn't anything happened? They said nobody has reported. So the next day we went and then filled the forms on behalf of the people of Ghana. There are persons there who voluntarily, it's not for personal gain, have taken actions, as it were, to promote the public good, right from Honorable Blakwa. Yeah. And there's a track record. I take a historical track record of them consistently picking up issues that others won't and being proven right that the issues they've raised, they were substantive. So I think that should give us a lot of confidence. I think that they should also be providing clarity that, look, we don't have a mandate under law, so we are only going to gather the information, cross-check it in a format that it will be useful for the mandated institutions to take it from there and complete the task. But they should also, as it were, provide channels and platforms that citizens can give this information, confident that their identities are not just going to be leaked into the public domain.
That's very important, because if they're going to rely on the public for such information, then they would also want to be sure that they are not exposed to dangers.
Well, the last two Afrobarometer reports have said over 30% of Ghanaians say they will not report because of the risk of being exposed.
But we have a whistleblower regime, don't we?
Yes, we do. It's because it has not worked. I mean, in the past, we've had persons who reported being called by the criminals that, oh, we know you made this report. We have been told. So we know it is you. And we know where you are.
Okay.
So that's why the whole issue of systems that hide the identities, proper mechanism, not one that very easily exposes those who want to do good.
Shouldn't the incoming government manage public expectation with regards to fighting corruption? I mean, I say this because of what we have experienced over the years. During election, you hear opposition parties always characterizing the sitting government as corrupt, taking the corruption fight to them, indicating individuals who are perceived to be corrupt and all of that. They come to office, and there is little to show for that very fight. Obviously, there are legal hurdles on the way. It's not as if you label somebody corrupt and therefore straight away the person is going to jail. It takes time to prove cases. It takes time for the processes to be exhausted. Shouldn't the government be managing expectations rather than heightening it and more or less creating the impression that this is going to be a very easy thing to do?
Rather than playing to the gallery, you mean?
Exactly.
I think that you have a substantive point there, that on one hand, you shouldn't overdo things in terms of expectation. On the other hand, I would like to see the incoming government consider a fast-track anti-corruption court system.
Okay.
One dedicated to dealing with these cases, where the lawyers, the prosecution, the judges, everybody there has been trained on what constitutes these cases, crimes under the law, and bent on facilitating processes so that you can find people culpable, sanction them, put it in the public domain, and to serve as a deterrent for others. So on one hand, they shouldn't seem to be indicating that we can deal with all these issues in a very short time when our systems at the moment don't deliver that. But on the other hand, they should be working to enhance the systems in terms of, like I said, fast-track court system, and then even enhancing the laws, because there are gaps in our laws that make it difficult when whether the office of the special prosecutor or other offices go to court to, as it were, finalize the cases and get rulings in favor of the cases that they take.
But regarding fast-track court systems, we've been there before. J. Kufuor started fast-tracking certain cases in courts. In fact, we actually demarcated certain courts as fast-track courts, especially with the passage of the willfully causing financial loss to the state law. But there is very little to show for those fast-track courts that we set up. I'm wondering how another fast-track system would survive.
No, in those cases, I mean, as far as I remember, I suspect that those were in that related cases. I don't remember that we've had a fast-track court system related to anti-corruption and good governance.
I was thinking the likes of Victor Salome were prosecuted in fast-track courts.
Yes, they weren't so much. I mean, it was more of economic crimes.
But it was corruption. It was corruption, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was a permanent system in place. And we probably need to go into the history to check. But if you have a system that says that for these kinds of cases, we will have a permanent arrangement where the various agencies that are responsible, UCO, SP, CID, CHARGE, can have quick access and in a timely manner get the results so that everybody knows that these things don't pay off. That will send a certain message. At the moment, it takes forever for the cases to be heard, to be finalized, and for anything to come out of them. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is looking at the laws and establishing what have been the gaps that make it difficult for the cases to be properly adjudicated, and to make sure that we are not making it easy. It's just like this is like the park case. But we went around in circles, making sure that the laws that have to deal with these issues are clear. You have things covering lifestyle audit so that when you have to explain where that money is coming from, and it's not just that anybody can have money at any time without explaining how they got into possession of those funds and assets.
Adam, I would like to thank you for your time this afternoon. I really appreciate your time, sir.
And thank you for having me.